going on?
I don't know. We had 2 J's for a second.
We should be good now.
Oh man.
That was amazing. Anyway, welcome to the season 4 premiere of Pastors After Dark. I'm Catastrophic, for those of you who don't know, and I'm not usually here. But we have a special episode for you tonight. So first, let's introduce everybody. I think in the top left here, we got Dustin, Pastor Dustin.
Yep.
We also have Ferris over in the top right.
Howdy.
We got Super Shadow. We got Dr. Heels and Father Ironheart.
Wow.
All right. And then, like I said, I'm
Dope
Catastrophic,
guys.
and I am usually not here. But tonight we have a special episode for you. It is the 1-year anniversary of Pastors After Dark. Do we have what was the exact date? Do we know what the exact date was of the first episode?
I believe it's the 8th, I think.
October 8th.
Yeah.
Wow.
October 8th. So it's been a year of PAD. So tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking past episodes. We're going to be kind of reminiscing, going back and talking about some of these guys' favorite moments, how PAD got started, and just the whole experience of how we got to where the show is today. So with that being said, let's pray.
Yeah.
Ferris, you want to pray for us?
Let's do it.
Cool.
Father, we come before you right now and just ask that you, well, we ask that you prepare us for this next year. We're completing our first year, that you prepare ourselves who are on this show, those who are going to be attending and watching. Conversations are going to be happening afterwards, Lord. It has been a ride of growing and learning and putting ourselves out there on a show, but really, Lord, all of us trying to faithfully present Christ in the most Christ-like way that we can while dealing with all these worldly issues and these conversations that are difficult and that not everybody likes to have, or that you don't really get that often within churches. So Lord, I just thank you for allowing us to participate in conversations that are difficult so that we can continue to glorify your name in them. Lord, you've given us 1 year already, and I pray that you continue to give us even more time to be able to continue to share the grace and hope of your Son. Lord, we love you and we thank you. I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Let's
Awesome.
go.
Awesome. Well, tonight's gatekeeper is Dr. Heels, right?
Yep.
If y'all just want to at him a ton of times in chat, make sure that is working. He can see ya. Yes.
The dedoped.
Awesome. Well, jumping right in, over the past year, y'all have done a ton of episodes talking about a variety of topics, ranging from porn to doubt to homosexuality to Black Lives Matter, and basically everything in between. So there's been a ton of episodes talking about so many different topics. And let's just start off. Like, what's been some of your favorite topics to talk about? Start with Jay.
All right. Yeah. Honestly, some of my favorites, I think, was just like back even in season 1, just because we still like had no idea. It's funny going back, and we're going to talk about the history a little bit later, but just like figuring out our rhythm of what Pads was even going to end up being and like how it was going to go. And we are like, would anybody even watch this? We knew there were some people, because we're like, people are asking these questions over and over again. But yeah, it was just like, I feel like that first season, we just like went right into it. We went for the throat. We're like, all right, let's talk women in the church. Let's talk homosexuality. Let's talk about, anything in it, like pornography. Yeah, I think those are some of the best moments. And just kind of like, I think for me, that time period of like, I was moving as we were preparing and trying to produce the show and get everybody together. And so like, I think if you go back, I don't know if we still have video. I think we saw a video of the first few episodes, but like I'm shooting in like an office that has like white walls, and I'm on like crappy little like 30 FPS camera. It was crazy. What about you guys? What do you think? Ferris, we'll go to you. Favorite moments. What did you think?
Man, so I really love, this is gonna sound really weird for me. This is a terrible episode for me to love. But I really love the episode where we asked, is suicide sinful? I think that was our finale of season
That was a good one.
2. It was my first season, It was my first season, and it was the reason I love that episode wasn't its subject matter. It was what happened in the chat. So we had tons of conversation, tons of support from the people in chat, tons of support coming from visitors coming inside. And then what happened afterwards is people got to come and connect within our Discord and continue some of that support structure and conversation. And that was when we saw Pastors After Dark kind of really change or just something like internal within just the GMA community. So like I really saw it go, oh wait, like it started to reach people outside of our GMA circle, and it really started to grow and see some more conversation. And that, I think that's one of my favorite episodes that we've done, hands down.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was.
So Tyler,
right.
what about you?
Oh gosh. I was when we were first like talking about this episode in particular, the question was Dustin had said something like, this is going to be really hard because I have a terrible memory, and so do I. But I think anytime that we've had a subject matter that like connected to me personally, something that I've wrestled with or something that I've questioned, and so the pornography episode, as weird as like Ferris saying that he enjoyed the episode that we did about is suicide sinful, that episode I also enjoyed, because that's something that I wrestled with for a decent amount when I was in college and in high school and stuff like that, and so that was a subject that was close to me and touched me personally, and so I enjoyed talking about that episode and having that conversation with chat, and something that I'm not afraid to talk about with other people. Who hasn't gone yet? Dustin.
Yeah.
Dustin.
Yeah, that's also been one of my favorite ones because we all got to kind of go around and tell our experiences, our struggles, how we've helped others, and it's been one that we've covered that kind of subject material in like 3 different episodes or something, and then other similar ones too. But those have been some episodes that I've most often pointed people to, because like we've been building up kind of this, repertoire of all these different topics that we've discussed, and so anytime something like that comes up in a DM or something, I'm always able to point people to, hey, we did an episode on Pastors After Dark about exactly what you're asking about, and it's been fun to point people to those. Another one of my favorites, I would say, is kind of like what Ferris was saying, but the mental health episode. Man, there was so much in that where we were able to point people to different resources, have very real, raw conversations about mental health as it is, mental health and the way we address it in the church, or the lack of it being addressed in the church. So that was a really fun episode, and we saw a lot of new people coming in who, like Ferris was saying, work from our little circles. And then also in that vein, the one on BLM and the protests and things, whatever, all that kind of stuff first started happening, and we had Shadeless on, and we had a really cool conversation. That show felt a little different, but man, some of the conversation like between Shadeless and Pastor Tanner and just everything we were able to talk about and just be very real and raw on was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. And I mean, every episode's been fun. Some are more practical, some are more theological, some are more culture based or whatever, but they're always fun. I always look forward to this.
It's almost like real and authentic conversations are enjoyable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Okay, random question for you all. Have any of your viewpoints changed? Either I don't think any of us would ever admit that one of our viewpoints changed in the middle of an episode, But have any of your viewpoints changed or modified or altered after you've had to chew on the conversation that we had within an episode, maybe like days later, weeks later, anything like that? Have you seen yourself grow, change, differ, lean another way? Oh, something new came, or something from like chat, a question was asked and it made you dig deeper into something else, or like maybe a host, Ironheart, asked you what scripture meant, and then you had to go look it up in the middle of an episode. I mean, has there been any part of like where you stood, or had an idea that you've seen start to grow or differ from where you originally started
I'm
on
gonna
any
go.
subject?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that the episode where I think that was women was that Can Women Preach, correct?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I know that like just like twisting and poking and prodding and just oh my gosh, it was great. I thought it was fantastic. And so just to put it out there, I enjoy when people do that, especially in like that kind of that kind of situation of the episode of, well, how come you don't have an answer for this? How come you don't have an answer for this? And going on and on. Anyway, I had a good time. So I would say, for me, I think I don't know if I've changed any positions per se, like from one thing to another, but I definitely have a better appreciation for topics that are more challenging, especially as we talk about like 2020 and the impact that it has had on all of our different lives, the different things people have gone through and stuff like that, and just having that bigger understanding of what's going on in the world and what people are dealing with. I think it was Ferris who had a soapbox on one of those episodes about 2020 and just unpacked all the stuff he's going through and just how good God is through all of it, and then just having that perspective of what's going on, and that while things might not be super fantastic for me, there's other people that are going through something totally different and totally like stuff that I can't comprehend, remembering that there's other things happening in this world outside of my bubble, and using that to help minister and reach to other people has been fantastic. So that's something, at least off the top of my head, not necessarily that things have changed, but that I've just gained a better appreciation and understanding of all the different places people are at.
Right.
Come on.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say on some of them it's hard because it's like I feel like a lot of our episodes haven't been very divisive, aside from things like women preaching in the church, or like the Black Lives Matter one and things like that. But on a lot of them, it's more like, is this sin or isn't it sin, or to what point is this sin?
Right.
So
Right.
it's hard to change a position on that too much, more so because I think I lean further on one side. But I will say, and this is a judgment on me, not on anybody else, but I remember I have changed my thoughts and opinions on a person. And I remember, I think I was the last one to kind of know about Pastor Tanner for whatever reason. And when I saw him, like, people already were kind of like, he was already jiving with like Ironheart and Ferris and Dustin. And I'm like, who is this guy? And then I was like, oh, we're bringing up like, I'm like, okay, let me check him out. Like, and I was like, oh man, this guy seems pretty like strong-willed. I don't know how he's gonna do on pads. I don't know how he's gonna do it like us being able to like joke. He's a lot more serious and very like, I don't know if he'll get the vibe of pads so much. So I remember, I think it was me, him, Ferris, Ironheart, and Dr. Heels, and I think it was on it related to spirituality. I don't know if it was angels. I think it might have been the angels episode.
Oh yeah,
The Angels, yeah. That seems right.
And I don't know what it was like that day and time, but we just like, I don't know. I was just jiving with him, and I'm like, this dude's actually like really good. Like he didn't dominate the conversation, but he had his strong opinions and thoughts, and he just jived, and like he was like the missing puzzle piece. I feel like as we've added in everybody from Ferris to Tanner to other people in beyond the original four, like it's just been like, oh, that's another really good puzzle piece to add in. And yeah, I totally like changed. Like I love Tanner, Like I sub to him all the time and tell people to go sub to him. He's an awesome guy. But I know I think that's just who I am now, being on this for doing this for so long. I'm super skeptical of people, you know, like anybody who just comes in right away, new to the scene and is claiming Christianity or claiming even to be a pastor, you know, and without doing my due diligence to just be like, yeah, come on in, be a part of the team. But yeah, no, Tanner's awesome.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, you telling me that I just can't make a website and put like, hey, I'm a pastor, and you just don't believe that?
You can't just claim to be a pastor of yourself and
I mean,
Wow,
you
your
you
animals.
can, but it's not a good idea.
Would recommend.
For sure. All right. Heels, what about you? Has there been anything where you have changed your position on or anything like that? Or any of the episodes?
I don't think there's been anything like, because kind of like Shadow was saying, there's nothing been truly divisive that we've talked about a lot of divisive things, but I don't think there's anything I've changed on mine. I think that I've learned a ton on the show though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I've learned a lot more just sitting back listening to everyone else.
Yes.
So that's been really awesome. A lot of big words too. I've forgotten most of those, but I remember the concepts.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But no, it's I don't think we've talked about anything like that we've been divided on. So I don't think my position has changed, but I've learned a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously, Pastors After Dark, y'all are talking about a lot of heavy topics. And so I know that can get kind of heavy and chat can get a little crazy at times. But there's also been, I know there's been a lot of like hilarious moments, a lot of moments where something goes wrong and something happens that shouldn't happen, but does anyway. So I'm going to make y'all think back. And do you have a favorite like funny moment or moment where something went wrong?
Oh man.
So many times things have went wrong.
Yeah.
Which time?
Yeah, which time? Which
It's
time
off air,
something
though,
went
I
wrong?
think.
How about the time where the storm rolled in and my computer completely shut
Yeah.
down and wouldn't even
Oh,
power
gosh.
on? And
We
that
had
was-
we
three
went down
different
three
streamers.
times. Yeah.
That was the first one that popped in my mind. Is the
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Do you remember what episode it was? I don't remember the
Oh, it was
episode
a-
It was
topic.
season 3.
It was a really good one too.
Yeah,
Was
'cause
it?
we ended up finishing on my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
That
it?
was in the last season, right?
Yeah,
I
that was
really
last season.
enjoyed
Yeah.
that one too.
Yeah.
It started with
Dang it.
Pastor Dustin streaming it, and
Yeah.
then a storm came and
Yep.
knocked out his power.
Yeah.
Then I started streaming it. Like I
And
got
your
it back up
computer
and running,
died.
and then my computer randomly decided to update because I clicked like, yeah, sure, remind me later, do it at 8:50 or whatever it was.
Oh,
And so then I had to reconnect through my phone, and then Dr. Heels had to go and stream the rest of it from his channel. Like the last like 15 minutes of it was streamed through your
Yeah.
channel, and from my phone I was zooming in.
My soapbox
that-
was on
like that-
Heels' channel.
the topic is like on
that was
on the tip
awesome.
of my tongue.
What was it? What was my soapbox on?
Dr. Hill's janky internet. That's true.
I don't remember.
It was.
Yeah,
it
because
was.
you had the
I-
soapbox,
Apologetic.
and we were talking about how God or how the devil wanted to stop it.
It was like
And that
all I remember is that it was
Oh,
like
they said it's the apologetics one.
apologetics. Yeah, Region. That was
Oh,
it.
it
That
was
was
the
it. It was bad.
apologetics
Oh, yeah.
episode.
That was a good one too.
That was
I
such
think
a
I
good
was like
episode.
in the middle of explaining the difference between like
Mhm.
Reformed and Fideus, and then it like cut out. And I remember
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I hope you guys heard most of that because I'm not re-explaining all of it.
That's right, because we were all
Yeah.
going around the room and telling what like apologetic methodology we all kind of leaned on, and it was like I was the only one who hadn't answered, and then my stuff went off, and I was like, well, they're never gonna know.
We'll
Never
never know.
gonna
It's
know.
just the new meme.
Yeah,
You will never know what Dustin really
Mhm.
believes or
Yeah.
what apologetic approach he uses.
exactly.
And he won't even share it with you unless you're not saved.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's-
One of my favorite moments though that I broke down laughing on stream, as Ferris probably already knows, was it was on the Can Women Preach one, and we had been talking about like Ephesians and you know everything that's going on in Ephesus, and was it just like a specific thing to that culture, or was it like a worldwide thing or whatever? and Ironheart was giving his defense in it. And Ferris, I should have looked up the clip before because I don't want to misquote it, but oh my goodness, he was like, sounds like that might have not just been like a one-off thing, huh? just play it into it, and I was like just kneeled over laughing over on my little screen.
So my question for that was, at what point did everybody knew I had hooked Ironheart, but he did not know that I had hooked him in that?
He was
I
just
probably
he
still
was
don't know.
digging. He was digging into it just for that payoff. It was amazing.
Oh man, it was so good.
Oh man.
Oh,
You know,
man.
it like on a serious note for me, like the episode that we did with Black Lives Matter after the death of George Floyd has been really interesting, as everything has continued in this country. By no means do I believe that Black lives do not matter. Black lives still completely matter. But I went back and watched that episode and then like listened to Shadeless's comments some more, and he was really adamant about uh the saying is trustworthy and good, but he's like, I'm not a big fan of the organization. And like for me, it's been really interesting to go, like, in 2020 current conversation, it's impossible to separate the phrase from the organization right now whenever you say Black Lives Matter. So like, let's say you're a person who doesn't associate with the organization, but you genuinely care for like people who are your next door neighbors who are getting mistreated or who are suffering due to something out of their control. Like it's impossible for you to be able to share that sentiment without every side assuming when you say Black Lives Matter, you're also part of an organization. It's difficult right now to just like be a person and love people without like proclaiming some type of moniker that people immediately want to associate and pigeonhole you in. But like something that was really interesting, that a conversation I had with my wife a week after that episode, which really helped put things more into perspective for myself, and then also for other minorities, I guess, is that I was having a conversation with my wife and I go, my parents, like, I grew up and they would teach me that one day people would not like me because of my last name and the color of my skin, even though I'm a light-skinned Puerto Rican, because my last name is Garcia, and I am not as pasty white as other people, as you all can tell. Like I tried to lighten my skin on this like thing, like to make me not look like red, but I always just look red on this camera. Like Chad, I was doing it before we started. I was like, why is my lighting doing this? But it was weird. And I told my wife, I was like, I never ever realized how strange it is that my parents had to teach me that because of my skin color and my last name, people would hate me for no other reason. And I was like, you never had that conversation, did you? And my wife was like, no. And I was like, there are tons of parents in this country who have had that conversation with their children. I'm going to have it with my children. Right. And I was like, I've never thought about that as not being normal. And then I was like, that shouldn't be normal. And then it kind of like start to wrap in my brain a little bit more of going, man, there are some things in this country that are really broken. And then I don't think it needs more votes in November to fix it. It needs Christ to fix it. But yeah, like that was something where like after the episode, God kind of continued to work that conversation in my brain and help me like flesh out more of my part in the conversation and making sure that everyone that I see, meet, and blessed to know are treated equally. So,
right.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that cricket in the background.
You like that?
He's amening you, I think.
I don't know where he
That's
is.
what he is.
But every time I'm out here streaming, he's here somewhere.
He's your stream buddy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my favorite funny moments have taken place when we're usually doing the cuts to everybody else. And my wife will occasionally bring me in some type of food. And I have I risk it in hopes that nobody calls on me or the gatekeeper doesn't call me next. And I remember one time my wife brought me a burrito and I ate that in the time it took Ferris, or I think it was Ferris, to answer whatever the question was. I ate an entire burrito, just like scarfed it. I think I was hosting too. So I had to like be ready to be like, oh, that's a very good like answer to that, Ferris.
Oh yeah.
Scarfing that. And I think almost every time I've done it too, and I've done it like on multiple episodes, because coming straight from work and then we're hungry. But Ferris typically always calls me out on it in chat too. Does anybody see that wrapper sitting on Shadow's desk right there? Anyone else see just Shadow's wife come in and offer him 2 different types of cookie dough?
The behind the scenes stuff. Good
Yes.
times.
Look, I'm just jealous that my wife refuses to bring me any food while I'm streaming. Okay, that's the only reason I do it.
I'm gonna
I'm
ask my wife to bring me
spiteful.
coffee and see how this goes.
Ooh, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let's do this all real quick. Hold on, let's just see who actually does this. Can we text our significant others if they can? Kat, can you text your roommate and see if
Done.
your roommate will bring you something?
I put kissy faces.
What do we,
Just,
what are we
see if that
asking them
happens.
for?
Sure.
Just a
Ask
cup?
them to bring them anything. Yeah, see who actually comes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask
I don't know what to
her.
ask her for. All the food is in this room.
They make it even better. So she'll come in there to give you food.
All right, let's see. I'm doing it right now.
Text
Yeah,
sent.
yeah.
That's
Hey,
what my
will you
wife
come in here?
does.
Kat, just will you come in here so I can give you food? Your roommate will be like, man, this girl's weird.
We should have a punishment for the last person.
To
No,
get
wait, I asked
some-
my, I
There
asked
we
my
go.
wife to make
Let's do
coffee. This is gonna take a minute.
I think Heels is the furthest away too, because yours is.
That's
yours
true.
is
I'm
in
in
the
the
garage.
The garage.
Ah,
All right, let's see the suspense.
let's see. Let's
Oh,
see
no.
what happens.
It's
That's-
gonna be
The
Ferris.
text.
Okay, yeah, we
This
can
is
continue.
the content people have been waiting for.
Oh,
This is it,
absolutely.
guys.
For 1 year,
Whose wife
we
is
have
far
perfected
superior?
pads right here.
Your boys are
So-
testing waters. Oh, Mrs. Reborn's here.
Oh, wow.
Man.
I mean, we've had
Yeah,
a lot of
Yes.
changes in the last year that pad started. So like obviously it was 4. Oh, hey guys. Hey, my wife brought me something to drink.
He's planned this ahead of time. He's like, look, I'm gonna throw in this
No.
curveball in pads about 15
man.
minutes into the episode.
Ferris
You have
gets
to be
first.
ready with
Hey
can in
guys, guess
hand.
what? Guess what?
Thank you, sweetheart.
My wife just
Ironheart's
brought
in
me
second.
Reese's.
Oh man, I'm gonna end up being last
Uh,
now.
I haven't got a response
Thank
yet.
you.
I know.
I have
We're
I have
seeing-
a response,
seeing
but
red. Oh man, Deuce, it might be down to you and me. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Oh no.
oh
About
no.
to call.
Jeff, did you get yours?
Mrs. Reborn is now texting my wife, telling her not to bring it. So I don't think
It's not gonna happen. It's okay. It might be the
Yeah.
time that I need. Oh man.
That's so good. Okay, but we've had a lot change. We had
Oh,
we
look
had
at this,
Deuce
y'all.
and Build.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
look,
Kat.
Kat. Wait,
Thanks.
what'd she bring?
Pair of scissors.
Your room-
That's
What
Kat's
could
roommate
you
brought her
possibly
scissors.
need scissors for right now? You're hosting a show.
No, it doesn't matter. She brought her
Doesn't
something.
matter.
It's all that matters.
Oh, I got something. Anyway,
Jay.
I'm still
Sorry.
waiting. Nothing yet.
I still haven't got a response either. Yikes.
We'll see.
Okay, so
I actually haven't gotten one.
Heels moved houses while technically no, I'm sorry, not Heels. Hold on. Ironheart
come
moved
here, bring me-
houses.
Look what I
Yeah.
So much.
Yes.
We're just seeing if our wives will bring us anything.
Oh, I got a
This is the
response.
While we're
fastest
actually
response.
streaming.
Yeah, while streaming. So think. You were first, second, third. You were fourth out of sixth. Oh, okay. Thank you.
True
That's
regenerated. It's not an excuse.
Oh wow.
oh man.
Your bright. Oh wait, your wife has COVID. Stop asking her to do things.
This
Wait,
is
your
true,
wife
Houston.
actually has COVID?
She actually does, yeah. Yeah, she
Yeah.
actually does.
Wow.
Seen that on
Did you
Wow.
not see his
Wife
tweet
has
today?
COVID. Bring
No,
me
I did
snack.
not see
Yeah.
this.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot has
she
changed.
she sent a
Oh.
messenger. Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Oh.
All right, that seems
Not edible, but I did
I did
just
see
say
it, Mr.
bring me
Reward.
anything.
Not edible, but bring me anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so a lot has
Send the
changed, like
minions.
you're saying, Ferris.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. We had one move, essentially 30 feet. You know, that's Ironheart.
30
We
feet
had
move.
we have one who decided to make their stream room into the hottest place in Texas,
This is
and
true.
then
Right
have
here.
his air conditioner break.
Yeah.
And then we had another decide, hey, you know, in the middle of the season, I'm going to move across the country.
To be fair, it was before we even started season one. It was like
Oh,
as
yeah.
we were
Mm,
planning.
Like, as we're planning, yeah.
Because I think originally our goal was to try to start in September, and then I was flying out for TwitchCon, and so we're like, oh, maybe when I get back. But then things just didn't line up, so we ended up pushing it to October 1st.
Oh no.
Right.
Yeah,
I have one piece of candy.
Hey, look at
One
that.
piece of candy.
that's all you need.
Look at that. All right.
It's been a good year.
Real quick, Heels, has there been any questions from chat?
Yeah. So let me take a look.
Yeah. And in the meantime, chat, let us know what your favorite moments were and what your
Ooh, yeah.
favorite episodes
Ooh,
were.
that's good.
Okay, so one of the questions Dusty asked earlier, why is it Pastors After Dark? Why don't you stream during the day? So what do you guys think? Why are we on at night instead of the day?
Well,
Kind of.
yeah, we got jobs, we got everything.
Jobs, work.
I mean, we're,
a few reasons.
yeah, lots of reasons. But
And the topics we're talking about kind of suit themselves for After Dark.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the pastor show where family friendly is turned off.
yeah.
So it's a little more suited for the nighttime.
You know
Right.
what? As we're talking too, like as I'm thinking of that question, the missing puzzle piece right now is we don't have a single pastor. Not like,
oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have a non-married pastor,
it's true.
you know, on the show in general. You know, so it makes sense that every single person that we've had on, from any of us here to Pastor Tanner to Deadly Dill, all have a family, you know, on top of that we work.
That's
and
very true.
Sunday is pretty busy as it is.
Yeah.
So this is just a time that works generally well. And like you
Mhm.
said, the topics themselves kind of fit a more mature audience. So
Okay, and then another question we had, and I seen it kind of being talked about a little bit in chat, but yep, I sure do like cats. Asked, pretty heavy, but do y'all know what gaslighting is? And I googled it, and it was also mentioned in there. But I'll read what Google says: manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. If y'all already knew what that meant, I didn't.
I didn't either.
oh,
I've
wait,
heard the
where'd my
term,
question
but I didn't know.
thank you.
Yes, I know it because my wife says I have done it to her in the
Love you.
past. So,
Fair.
It was
just
very
saying.
Okay. All right.
But
Chris.
does he manipulate us to get to us to where we want to go? You know, that's actually good. That's a great question, right? Because like, if you, really this depends on your theology of God. Like, who do you think God is, and how do you believe that He works? So many times, or many people believe that God is not an all-powerful, all-loving creator who has made a pathway for a relationship with you. They don't always see Him like that. They see Him like a big kid bully with a magnifying glass, and we're the little ants, and we're just a plaything for their manipulation and enjoyment, and there's no real concern. And I can totally see how some people feel like that, right? So like my wife, her story is has some really tragic moments, but like she used to think that God like played with their lives, especially when she was 17 years old. Her mother passed away. Her mother was a spiritual leader in her family, all growing up, loved Jesus, served all the time and everywhere, was the whole reason her family went to church. And then her mother gets diagnosed with this really rare bone cancer. And then within 2 years is passed away. And at 17, my wife is like, if you take the best of us, why do I even want to deal with you? Right? Like if you take the person who loves you the most and you make them suffer this most, like what's the whole point? And she was thinking like all of a sudden, like, man, I don't want to mess with the God who's just, you know, toying with us. He doesn't actually care and love us. And it took her years to be able to grow and understand that the sinfulness and brokenness in this world, the broken creation, got fuzz. That is a real thing. Okay, you know, command broken.
Yeah.
But the fact that the perfect creation that God established is no longer there because sin entered the world, and then we suffer as a result of that sin that's in the world, and then our own sin. It took my wife a long time to realize that what God's trying to do is not make us play this game of suffering. He's trying to provide that pathway to hope that only lies in Jesus that allows us the ability to get through the suffering, to get through those difficult moments, to be able to look forward. And that's why it's the hope of Jesus Christ, right? That is why we get to have hope. It's the belief in things unseen, things to come. And it's that promise of a relationship and perfection and healing and oneness with him. And it comes because of that sacrifice that Jesus made. So it took her forever to go, I don't think God is a bully with a magnifying glass and we're the little ants, but I think God is an all-powerful, loving God who created a pathway for us to be able to know him and know him personally. The reality of that is that's a hard journey for some people to get to that moment where they're like, I do believe this and I have that hope.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that was a great response to that question. So let's move on to our next section here really quick. But before we do that, I do just want to mention real quick that we do have the blessing bank going on. I didn't mention that in the beginning, but we do still have that going on. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what's going on with that, we are taking donations through Stream Elements, and it's going to be throughout the next 2 weeks. And then October 17th, we are having our GMA 1-year anniversary event. And at the end of that, we'll be giving the entire blessing bank away to a streamer on Twitch. So we'd love for y'all to contribute to that. I don't remember what the command is for it, but that is there and that is happening. So that being said, I'm going to talk real quick. Let's talk about how PAD started. How did PAD come to be? And how did, I know we got the 4 OGs here, but then we got Ferris as well. So I want to talk about how Ferris got joined up. But what did that whole process look like? Whoever wants to take
I
it.
really hope some of y'all have a better memory than I do, because I have
Yeah,
no
I was
idea.
gonna say I think Kat
remember.
messaged me and asked if I wanted to do it, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. And then we started brainstorming everything.
I think
Now, my wife did text me because Mrs. Rewarn explained what happened. She wanted me to show that she did bring the coffee.
Oh, there it is.
Now, our coffee maker takes about 2 minutes to make the coffee, so I really think we deduct that from my time, and I didn't lose.
And then he's first place.
Anyway, let's.
Oh man.
But I mean, I can start with what I remember. I don't know who had the original idea, but I remember I think it was Kat that messaged me and asked if I would want to group up with the other pastors in GMA and start a show. And at that time we didn't have a name or really a concept. We just wanted to do a show with the pastors we had, and we jumped in the chat and we started talking and throwing around names. And who came up with Pastors After Dark?
So I know. So if you go back, I scrolled all the way to the very first
did you? Okay.
message
That's what I'm
of
doing
our.
right
We have a thing without looking. Don't do it yet.
Okay.
Chat. You guys can do this too. Who do you think came up with the name Pastors After
no.
Dark and Pads? Those are
I'm
two
not
different
gonna
answers too.
scroll
but
all the way back through that.
So Kat, we'll start with you. Who do you think it was somebody out of the 6 of us who came up with the name Pastors After Dark?
It was either me or you, I think.
Dustin, who do you think it was?
Remember.
I know who it is, so I'm not going to guess. Chat, you guys can guess.
I'm going to guess that you came up with Pads. I'm going to guess I came up with Pastors After Dark.
Okay. Ferris, you can guess too if you didn't cheat and look. Did you look?
No, because I wasn't here. I wasn't here when it all
So
started.
you can't go back.
Oh yeah, you can't go back
Oh.
that far.
Okay, so who do you think came up with the name Pastors After Dark? And then we obviously dubbed it as Pads.
Oh, I'm gonna say
Conversation. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna say Dustin.
Okay.
I feel like Dustin would be the most unlikely, which is why I think he might be.
Okay. Ironheart, who do you think came up with the name Pastors After Dark?
I thought I did.
Okay.
Okay.
Dr. Heels?
All right. Well, see, I was gonna say Deucing because he said he did, and I'm like, okay, maybe he remembers. But now I'm
No, I don't
in
remember
between.
anything.
I'm gonna go with Ironheart. He seemed really confident he came up with it.
All right, I'll have it. So people are guessing me. I thought I came up with it too. I came up with Pads afterwards,
Yeah.
but it was Father Ironheart who came up with Pastors
There we
After
go.
Dark.
Nice.
I
Like
here's
the-
I was
Here's-
going to say, thinking
here's
back,
why
I
I
remember the
remember.
pads conversation.
Here's
Yeah.
why I remember this, because at the time I had just moved to the town I'm in now, and the condo that I was in, that I just moved out of, had bed bugs, and we were living with someone from our church. They opened up their home to us while we kind of got that situation under control. Well, we didn't get it under control for like 9 months, but whatever. And I remember sitting in their living room, and I'm like, Pastor, I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, Pastors After Dark, and she's like, that sounds kind of weird. I'm like, I'm gonna suggest it anyway, and then it stuck, and I was proud anyway.
Yeah, that was it. And yeah, so if you scroll all the way back, if you guys don't mind me sharing just these early messages, I'll just share what mine. If anybody wants to
Go for
ever
it.
wants to
I'm
try
looking
to
at them
get
right now.
Yeah,
Go
me
for
too.
it.
pastors
Oh gosh.
together.
Okay.
This was the opening message I sent to all of them, because originally this
I'm
thing
still
came out
scrolling
of-
back.
Yeah, it's a long way to scroll back. I remember because I was doing at the time, my first year of streaming, I did a show called What's for Lunch and Other Spiritual Questions. And I had non-Christians on at the time, and I had like a couple of Indian spiritualists, I had a Muslim on, I had a Jewish guy on, and then I had Alan on, who's his own, thing too. And then that began to take more form into what we have now, Hear Me Out. And then I remember I had Dustin on, and then that was like right when I think Dr. Heel started to get on. Father Ironheart was streaming a bit, and then me and Kat were like, hey, we need to do something with the GMA page. Like, we have yet to have anything on the GMA Twitch page. So I was like, it'd be really cool to have a show like Hear Me Out, but with all pastors, and to answer a lot of the questions that I'm sure these guys are getting just as much as I'm getting. And me and Kat were going back and forth, like, can we use it? Yeah, okay, cool. Because originally Hear Me Out was going to be what we were going to do on here on Friday mornings, but it never made the full transition, and we never finished talking about it, and this came up. So I messaged these guys, and here was the message. I said, hey boys, I put all 4 of them in plus Kat. I'll start this pitch off by saying this. I know we are all really busy with family, ministry, life, and online ministry, and our own content schedules with streams and whatnot. But hear me out. Me and Kat were talking and think it would be worthwhile trying to see if there was a time or day that we could all get together and possibly do a pastor's roundtable. Again, because we didn't have a name for it. Answering questions in our community about things that maybe people want to remain unknown on, but really struggle or have questions about. It doesn't really have to be as long as Hear Me Out by any means, but maybe just a 15 to 20 minute stream.
That worked so good.
This is my
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't have to be any longer than 15 or 20 minute stream, and then maybe it can be edited down for a GMA video. We are blessed enough to have 4 pastors, all from different walks and stories, together here in GMA, and thought it would be a really good weekly way to engage our massive community and teach them about the truth of God. Let me know your initial thoughts. And the first person to respond to it, because I was like, man, I don't know if these guys are going to tell me to just go shove it, or like they don't have time, they're super busy,
Love it.
whatever, was Dr. Heels. He said, I love that idea, man. I'd be 100% down. So Dr. Heels was the first one to get the ball moving. Then Ironheart, then Ferris spiritually was like, it is hard.
Let's do it.
Too. He wasn't. He didn't exist at this time yet, so
you didn't exist, Ferris.
You didn't exist.
Wow.
Ferris,
You weren't
only-
real.
Once you come into the realm of pads. Then Father Ironheart said he'd be down, and then Houston just ignored us, I guess, for the first next. Houston didn't answer.
That seems right.
No, it was the same day. We just talked a lot.
I had to pray about
and then
it.
Kat said some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all didn't
Yeah,
pray.
sure.
Houston actually prayed
We were
about it.
busy praying. Yeah, and then that was it. Like, everybody was just on board. Dustin was the last one to respond, but he said, let's see, what did he say? What was Dustin's initial response?
I said, yeah, I'm
He said,
definitely
yeah.
up for it.
I'm definitely up for it with
Definitely
the
up
thumbs
for it. Thumbs
I
up.
was like, oh, cool. Because I told
Easy.
Kat, I was
Awesome.
worried. I was like, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't as obvious as like, all right, let's just do Sunday nights. Because I'm like,
Right.
we're all busy. Some
Yeah.
people do Sunday nights. Some people, make that like their family time or go visit
Mhm.
other people
Yeah.
in church.
Well, and I think back then too. I think Ironheart. I think you were a mod at that point. Deuce, I think you were
Oh,
part of the
yeah.
outreach team.
Yeah.
Heels, I think you were
Mhm.
also part of the outreach team at that time. So
Yep.
it's like
Yep.
you were almost like just starting to get involved, and then all of a sudden we're coming to you. Hey, you want to commit to this
Right.
every week?
I was
Oh,
like
no.
super excited when Shadow came to me with this idea. I was like, I get to do more things. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I had just joined the server like in late September.
Okay, so
Yeah, early September. So then I'm like and then all of a sudden we had started, and then I got asked by I think Ironheart to fill in for him or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll be here and help out. And then now I'm thinking about it after Jay said my mind has changed about people. I'm sure he had that exact same thought about me. Who's this Ferris guy?
Probably.
yes.
I probably did. I just
Like,
don't
I don't know.
remember that. I just like you so much now. I've chosen to willingly forget that part. Yeah, because this all took
okay.
place on the 16th of September in 2019.
Oh
That's
wow,
Yep.
gosh.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
so
we took a couple
you
weeks
had
to
to be
plan
like
and-
a week in.
Right.
Yeah, wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Is there, Kat? There's a way for me to find out how old I am in GMA, right? Where's that at?
I have
Oh.
no idea.
Master of the Discord.
So
I'll
I have
find
no
out.
idea.
I want to hear
So
from
ho-
you guys because, like, for me, I was super nervous initially writing that, because I'm like, I hate being rejected. This is like a big ask to say, hey, can you guys weekly commit to doing this thing? I don't know how well it's going to go. There's like no followers on the GMA channel at this time.
No, because we
You
haven't done
know,
anything
and-
with it.
Yeah, so it's like we have to totally promote the heck out of this thing. I don't know if anyone will ever watch it, but let's give it a try. For you guys, what was kind of your initial thoughts? Or actually, like Deucen said, he was praying on it. I don't know if he was joking or if he was serious, about it. But Deucen, we'll start with you. Like, what was your initial thoughts? What kind of drew you, to do this?
Man, just really the idea really resonated with me too, that like because as all of us were doing our own thing streaming, we were getting those kind of conversations and questions anyway. So I love the idea of being able to have that kind of roundtable discussion where we just bounce ideas off of each other and give our input and thoughts, and let's see what the Bible says, and but come together instead of like, because we all know kind of how that works with streamer brain. That's what I call it, streamer brain. It's where you like, you're doing all these different things at once, and it's like 15% of your brain max is like working. So it's like something I would normally know, like, if you just asked me on the road, I'd know it like the back of my hand. But with streamer brain, I'm like, what? Let me think. And you just completely forget. But like, if we all put our 15% brains together, it's like one fully functional pastor.
Right, one fully functioning.
Almost there.
But no, I love the idea of being able to come together, and especially the big thing that really sold me on it is the fact that we answer questions that are asked anonymously. I love that, because there's so many things that, even like if everything was the same but we had to know who asked, there are certain things that wouldn't be asked. I mean, like our second episodes on self-pleasure, that's not going to be asked if they know who's asking. But whenever it's completely anonymous, then we're able to have very real, raw conversations that like we would have with people in our office, like in a counseling session, but like online on the internet in front of all these people, no one's going to let that happen. So I love the anonymity of the way that our show is structured and set up. So that's one of the biggest things for me, but I love everything about it, really.
Yeah. Dr. Hills, what about you? We'll have you go next then. Like, you were the first one to respond and say 100% I'm in.
Right. Well, I mean, as soon as it was asked, I was like, yeah, I'm in. The next part of me was like, all right, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna make this fit my schedule, and then approve it with the wife, because I'm a good husband.
Did you say you were in before?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. And
Wait a minute.
but yeah, so I was like, I'm in, and I'll figure it out, because at that point I was still streaming 4 days a week. And for like the whole first season, I just bumped it up to 5 days a week. I did Pad on a completely different night.
Yeah.
And it was just last season when we decided I would just stream Sundays after Pad. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm in. I love the idea, because I mean, the whole reason I moved from like maining YouTube to maining on Twitch was because I wanted to actually reach people on the platform. I wanted to reach gamers. I wanted to reach, into an area in the area of the internet that wasn't really being reached. And then I found all you guys, and I'm like, oh, never mind, y'all are here. Just kidding. And then you had that idea. I was like, I love that. I love the idea that we can get on and answer questions, and between, at the time, 4 pastors, that we could answer these questions, that we could help someone who, come in with a question, who came in with a doubt, who came in with a struggle, and lead them to Jesus. And I love that idea. And I knew between the 4 of us, we'd create something incredible. And now we just have a whole team that's, building up. But as soon as it was asked, I was like, absolutely. I'll figure out how to make it work after that, but absolutely.
Yeah. People make time for what they want to make time for.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like, so do you, Ironheart, and then we have some stuff with Ferris here too that I see that you guys found. So
yeah.
So wait, what? I'm sorry, I spaced off for a second. I was too busy watching Deuce and trying to fix his camera.
They can't see that.
Remember,
You gotta do some. We believe in you.
remember that whole things never going wrong, or what was your favorite part?
yeah,
All the things
Cameras.
we were going around and just kind of sharing what our initial draw was to
to the show.
to even do it, to first respond to that first message. And
Well,
say,
so
like, yes.
so for me, it's interesting because I look back, like, this is a year ago. I had literally become a pastor like in September. The month we started, we were talking about starting pad. I had just become a pastor.
Mm.
And so it was like, we've got people that have been, let's see, well, and we'll talk about this message here in a little bit, but Ferris's introduction into GMA have been in ministry for 10 years. I don't know how long you'd been a student pastor at that point, but like, you have Ferris, who's been in ministry for a long time. You have myself, who's like just getting started, and like everything in between. And I was like, I'm just getting my first pastoral job, and it was like getting another pastoral job of, hey, you want to do a talk show podcast thing on Sunday nights? Like, yeah. and not even really sure how I was going to do it, because I didn't know what my house was going to look like and all that kind of stuff. But I was super excited, and to have these conversations with other pastors from like we've said, from all different walks of life, all that kind of stuff, and to be able to talk about things that you wouldn't normally talk about, things that I want to be able to talk about with people, but sometimes people don't want to be bold and ask those kind of questions. So I was excited. I was really looking forward to jumping in and getting going, and I've loved being a part of the show ever since we got it going. Technical difficulties and all.
Yeah, that's plenty.
Oh yeah, the whole first season was just technical issue after technical issue.
I think we just refer to that as season 0 at this point.
Season 0, yes.
Lost in time.
Oh man.
Now, Shadow, I want to know the same for you. I know you kind of kickstarted it with the rest of these guys, but what was your first thoughts when I messaged you about the show?
Yeah, because you were kind of the first one to really reach out and be like, would you be willing to do it on another channel? I'll be honest, it was, the board, we were kind of looking at, there was a couple of things that we started to notice. I think I've been streaming at that point for about 2 years. And I'm like, there's other Christians that are popping up, and some of them are really, really great. And some of them I'm like, are they a Christian though? Like, do we, and then you add in this other aspect of them, they're claiming to be like pastors or elders or, some position of authority in churches. And then when you ask them about it, I'd be excited at first, like, oh, where at? And they would literally give those responses I'm saying of like, oh, I pastor my home, or I pastor, my 2 dogs, or whatever. And we were trying to figure out, like, how do we help, like, people know, like, this is a good, even if we don't totally agree with everything or theology wise or doctrine wise, but like, these are still solid pastors that you guys should invest like your views in and your time in, and because more people were starting to come and look for other Christians to watch and view. And I remember at one point we talked about like, oh, we'll just give everybody the GMA logo that we approve. But it's like, there was people and literally people could just take that logo from a screenshot from one of our streams and then just put it in their own stream. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, we need another way to kind of also like show off other pastors and other Christians that are really solid, that you could trust, that, can at least are trying to handle the Bible faithfully and biblically. And so yeah, I remember you asking me, and I was like, yeah, that would be a super fun show. And my biggest thing is I'm like, look, I might never hit partner. You know, like that might just be
Mhm.
something that will never happen for the Super Shadow channel. If it does, it'd be amazing. But I'm like, I want to build something that's bigger. Like I think God would be more honored if I build something bigger that's beyond me, beyond a check mark on my name, you know, that can continue
Mhm.
on beyond me. And it's so cool as I've looked back now to see like there are episodes like the Black Lives Matter, which I think is one of the best episodes the
Mhm.
show has ever done. I'm not
For
on it.
sure.
And those two aren't correlated. Let me just put that out there. But I think it's cool to see that of like, man, I can step away from this and like, you know, it's the beauty of like going and multiplying. Like we all would want in our
Yeah.
ministries to see other people be able to go pick up the mantle to keep it going and know that it's like going to be just as high quality, if not better than what you have. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm like super proud. And just even make it a year, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, there's been a lot that's happened in just 1 year. I can't imagine if we keep working on it the way we are, where it could be in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, you know, as we
Mhm.
God dream about the show and just even what can come out of this show. And we've kicked ideas around of other stuff that, you know, we'll kind of mention at the end. But yeah. So I was totally on board. I thought this was a great way to kind of handle two different problems. Both how do we find and promote really authentic, good, solid pastors and other Christians that we want to promote, and also like how to answer questions that people are wondering about and struggling with, and you know, then have a resource to point people back to, like Dustin was kind of saying earlier. So yeah, I was totally on board. I was planning on making it work. Like I was literally about to switch jobs and was like in the process of transitioning out of my old church and finding a new church. But I was like, whatever it may look like, whatever day Pads decides, I'm making sure it's in writing that I have that night off to make sure I could be here and get this thing off the ground. But yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, and then I know we had Ferris over here, and you joined a bit later to the team. I think it was you filled in one night for Ironheart, I think you said, and then the next season you became a regular host. So what was that like for you?
It was really exciting. So I had joined GMA in late August of 2019. Yeah, that's right. Late August 2019. I had started streaming like 3 weeks before, and I started streaming much like I think all the rest of us did. We're believers, and we were like, man, we're seeing these awesome communities like grow and explode from these like gigantic streamers, because that, I mean, Twitch had existed for a while already there, but then you know Fortnite came, and you had these gigantic communities show up all of a sudden. Then you have these gigantic Discord servers, and then I'm looking for people like me who believe in Christ and who also want an online community. And I started it as maybe a possible way to connect with my students. But then I realized, hey, this is bigger than just my students. I connect with all types of people. So I found GMA, and I found GMA through like the most random, like disconnected way ever. But the Lord brought me here, and I found this community that I just dove into. And then within a month, Pastors After Dark started, and I wanted to be a part of it, but I also, you know, I've been in ministry for 10 years. Anytime you have anybody come up and be like who's new and a
Right,
super
yeah.
volunteer who says, hey, I want to be a part of that, you're just like, you're just like,
Why don't you sit out the first season?
yeah. It's like I'm gonna run 2 background checks on you,
Right.
especially as like a student pastor. So I didn't say that, and I dove into the community. I became super active, and then a mod, and then I was a mod for a crazy long time, and then I got invited to. I think I got invited in, and there's a message within the within the Pastors After Dark feed, because I can see all the way back to its creation. And Heels was the very first person to mention me. And the clip is dead. I can't see it, but this is what it says. It says, this is what Ferris was talking about in the mods channel. There's potential here for sure. And I can't tell if he's like saying he might be a good addition in the future or what.
What
But
was the
I'm gonna
context
assume-
around it? Because I didn't scroll that far, or I don't know where that.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't know
see,
where that
hold
is.
on. Podcast. There's a Shaq dancing gif.
Yeah, a lot of gifts.
A lot of gifts.
This looks like it might be perfect. I'll look into it a little bit more. I need to see if it's possible for multiple scenes, though. Oh, maybe you're just talking about something I had done for a scene or something like that. But Ironheart was the very first person to actually suggest me jump in. But for me, it was the reason I wanted to come in is because it's a rarity. I love, as all of you know, because of my hosting, I love arguing. I love it. Okay. The whole iron sharpens iron thing, if I could do that all day and be paid for it, I would just aggravate people all
There is
day.
a job where you sharpen iron.
Have you considered politics?
know.
Yeah.
Right. But like, on the faith side. But I love it. And the coolest thing to me stepping into this community was it's like it is a melting pot of faith backgrounds and even of beliefs with some very like tight core things that we hold on to, which are super primary. But the fact that like, we have like like myself, I'm essentially more like non-denominational than really anything here. Then we have a pretty conservative person working in we have a person working in a pretty conservative church with Ironheart. We have some charismatic background brothers here, and then we have like how about Heels? I don't know how I would like quantify your church. I feel like
I don't either.
they're like
We're non-denominational, if that helps.
yeah, they're non-denom, but like there's like essences of traditionalism, but also like we're gonna go forward and be trendy and new and stuff like that. So like there's the in between. So we have different theological backgrounds, different histories of how we grew up in the faith, or whether or not we did, different tenures, different parts of the country. So the part that made me really excited about this is that most of the conversations I've ever had with other pastors have been people who are within a similar circumstance as myself. But I was like, man, here's 4 or 5 other people who are in different parts of this country who have a different perspective of faith being lived out where they live at, and their perspective and their knowledge and wisdom is going to be something that I can grow and gain from. And that's why I wanted to be a part of it. Was not because I thought I could add to it, but I thought I could grow from it.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay. Do we have any more questions or anything from chat we need to catch up
Sure.
on?
Sure. Okay, so yeah, Pesher Like Cats asked, as someone who likes to write stories and make characters, how do I allow my characters to make evil decisions and be flawed without seeming like I am promoting such behavior? You want to talk about fiction levels?
Sorry, chat. They just heard my doom sound alert.
Oh,
Sorry. I still don't know how to turn those
you normally got
off.
to pay extra for that, so you're welcome.
So someone went to your stream.
Yeah, thank you for that
Did the-
follow, whoever that was.
I mean, I can answer to how I would answer. I think like when you're working on fiction, I don't think that there's a concern as long as like you put the evil character in perspective, right? Immediately I think of someone like C.S. Lewis when he wrote the Chronicles of Narnia. He was able to display and give a biblical message and portray the gospel through this, even though that there is a witch and there is evil and there is injustice, yet the gospel prevails, right? And I think that we can do that in our story writing. I used to like to think of myself as a creative writer. I found some old writings the other day. It was horrific. But anyway, I think that we can portray those that are evil in simply that way. And we make it a value that's not sought after. We make it as something like, I don't want to be that person, right? I mean, in essence, when you're writing a story anyway, your villain needs to be evil enough that your audience dislikes them. If not, there's confusion there. You don't know who the hero, you don't know who the villain is, you don't know who you're rooting for. I hate when that happens. Your villain needs to be dark enough that no one wants to be that person. But then you can always do a restoration story too, and kind of show the gospel in that way too. I think we see that a lot. And my daughter's favorite characters are villains who become good. Like every time we watch Star Wars, Darth Vader is her favorite character in all of Star Wars, and it's
Yeah.
only because he became good. And so you always have that possibility too, to show regeneration, to show evil becoming good. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when we're talking about fiction writing, creative writing, I don't really think that's a concern. But what do you guys think?
It's interesting. I'm a villain person. Like my wife
Mhm.
and I are villain people when it comes to Disney. Our
I
favorite
guess that.
characters, our favorite characters are villains. I don't have it up right now, but one of my favorite. I guess it is up on my opposite wall. So I love Disney. I love Disney pins. I collect villain Disney pins, and then like all of my Disney art and everything is all villains. I think they're like deeper characters, right? But honestly, I think they're goofier. But like villains are really interesting because I think that you can write the depth of sin without justifying its or without writing in its like goodness. And my favorite example of this in modern television is Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's one of the most interesting characters in the entire TV universe because you love him. You're rooting for him the entire time, but you're conflicted as a viewer because he is evil and there is no way that you can like dodge around it. Like you're like, oh, he has good intentions at the beginning, but the longer you watch that character grow, you're like finding out on Breaking Bad that he is evil and that he is truly evil. So even though you're rooting for him, and even though evil prevails many times, there's something in you that is literally like frustrated the fact that you're rooting on a character that you know is evil, wrong, and a wrongdoing. Sometimes in some of my favorite stories, the villain wins, but it's disappointing because
Your favorite stories, the villains win.
Yeah, like so I mean, because the reality, it's the reality of life. Sometimes it feels like evil prevails, right? And it always lets shoot. It's every second installment of a Star Wars film. Okay, right? Really, like that's really what it is. Right, The Empire Strikes Back. There we go. Evil feels like it's won, and you're left there sitting unsettled. You're satisfied the moment that the story's over, but you're unsettled for the fact that you're like, no, this can't be, because there's something in your heart that's just like, no, I don't like that. We gotta fix it. And if you haven't watched Breaking Bad,
I actually have not watched Breaking Bad.
I think
I've watched all but like the last 2 or 3 episodes, which people would tell me I'm crazy for not, like that's what it all builds up to.
Yeah, like it's interesting. Like those are some of my favorite like fictional stories, is where you're rooting for the main character, which is an evil person, but you're rooting partly for either their like salvation, that they're rectified, or for them to be just like crushed and like completely demolished. And if they're just left okay without any repercussions, it's unsatisfying.
So my first thought goes like Kylo Ren in the new ones, yeah. And personally, I thought Kylo was a more interesting character than Rey, but that may be the unpopular opinion.
Because villains are better.
But I don't disagree. And one thing I would say, kind of in that sort of on topic, sort of off topic, but like if you study like the hero's journey, which is really popular in story writing and stuff, you really want your villain to be bad enough that it seems like impossible for the hero to beat. That just creates a more interesting story arc, and it gives reason for typically the guide to come along and help through, and it really sets up the story.
That's why Avatar: The Last Airbender is better than The Legend of Korra, because Avatar Ozai was a way better villain.
100%.
Fighting words? Anybody disagrees with me? Meet me outside.
Meet me outside. Catch me outside.
Catch me outside.
outside.
How about that?
How about that?
I was looking during that, Ferris, because you said you thought you filled in for Father Ironheart, but I like went back and I found all the context and pieced it all back together on why. And it wasn't. Father Ironheart actually hosted that episode. It was episode 4 of season 1.
Wow.
Does my past sins disqualify me from being a pastor? And I remember I couldn't be on because I was traveling. I was doing a 4-day trip from Chicago to California, and
That's
I thought I was
right.
gonna make it sooner than I was, but I'm like, guys, it's gonna take me a whole nother day. I'm not gonna get there till Monday. And so I'm like, I'm there's no way I can do pads. Like, I'm literally gonna have to do it while driving if I do. And I'm like, I don't know, can 3-man it, but 3-man is kind of weird. Like, we're so used to 4. And then Father Ironheart said, well, let's try this Ferris guy. So Father Ironheart, because he was the host. So Father Ironheart hosted, Dr. Heel's gatekeep, Dustin was the streamer, and we said, okay, we're just gonna give Ferris the job to like talk and pray.
Yeah, go for it.
Talk and pray.
And that's really all I did. I was like, those first couple episodes, I was a little intimidated because I was like, man, there's got this gigantic professional production. You know, a few more weeks in, I realized the truth.
Yeah.
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 We're super professional. Most of the time we're sitting here in Zoom like, why is this not working?
Yeah.
It's
So
funny
then if
because we.
you
Oh, go ahead.
if you jumped in on the 4th episode, then you were only in GMA for about what, like 2.5 months before you got on the show. Then
Before
Trial by
Father
fire.
Ironheart's great idea.
Yeah.
And look what happened. You're welcome.
Yeah, luckily I wasn't a crazy person.
Yeah, it's true.
it worked out.
Wait, Dustin with Travolta right now.
Travolta was a
Travolta,
staple
oh.
on this
I
show.
Speaking
forgot
of your
about
cat.
that.
Season 1 and 2.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
I realized we were forgetting a regular on
We were
our show.
missing
Yes.
somebody. Yeah.
True. We should have made him a spot for this episode.
We
Yes.
should have. Well,
I love
it fits it that he's like, where do I go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody else has a name. I don't get one.
Yeah. Also,
So every time I
there's-
do a
so
design
bad.
mock-up, I put Travolta in the image placeholders.
That's awesome. Now there's
Yes,
also
so
there's fire crackling sounds in the background too. Y'all can't hear it,
Oh,
but
good,
it's
okay.
been happening for the
Okay.
past 5 minutes or so.
All right.
Yeah, for the
Love
campfire.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works because my cricket is
Yeah.
he's just gonna keep going all
Adds to
night.
the ambiance.
I just love the fact that some of our streamers have realized that you're using your OBS setup. So if they could,
I know I
go
had to
your stream
disable a
and do
bunch
that.
of stuff. They were like, "Hey, can I summon this and summon that?" And then we're gonna have like Doom band stuff going and
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf screaming at us and all sorts of stuff. So I had to go disable it all before they
I
did.
love it. I don't see the
And
problem.
what's funny is it would bother none of us except Dustin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
We
And the
wouldn't even
viewers.
know.
Acting.
It's true.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. With that, let's go to our last question here. What has God taught you most through the past year that you've been doing this show?
Hmm.
We're gonna start with Dustin.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I'd say something that I've said a lot, and I think the reason that I say it is as a result of this show. I say it often that the more I learn, the less I know. It's something I've said before, but I've really kind of realized as we've had these kind of conversations where sometimes we have to dig deep into things and like, why do we, where do we stand on these things? Why do we believe these things that we believe? Or how would we help someone to walk through this situation? And maybe it's something I haven't helped anybody with yet. So it's been really, really cool to hear y'all's wisdom on things. I've learned so much just from having these conversations with you guys and trying to make sure I'm always staying teachable and humble and listening and learning. And which is obviously something we want for our entire audience and all the people that we're trying to reach with our streams and with the messages of this show is, that nobody's got it all figured out. Nobody's got it all together. Just because we're pastors on this screen doesn't mean we know the Bible inside and out and know every theological topic like the back of our hand or whatever. That's why we come into these conversations, and like sometimes we'll look ahead to some of the questions like, oh man, that's gonna be a tough one. I need to start reading up now. And so it's really helped me to stay teachable, to continue learning, and to listen to the wisdom and everything from these guys.
Awesome. Father Earnhardt, what about you?
I was gonna say something along the lines of what Deucen said. Just like the more we do this show, like I get to learn a ton, and the more we do this show, the more I realize I don't know near as much as I ever thought I did, and it's awesome because one thing I've loved not only about Pastors After Dark but about GMA in general is that I've been able to connect with people who know so much more than I do, and get to teach me so many things and get to impart their knowledge and hours of study, and I get to learn and grow from the things that they've taught, and it's been amazing. Like I would have never had connection I would have never had connections with the people with such different perspectives than if I weren't a part of GMA, and it's been awesome to have those connections and build those relationships, and then for Pat in particular to talk to other pastors and hear their experiences and the things they've gone through and what's going on in their church and all that kind of stuff, and to learn how to be a more God honoring Christ follower from all these different perspectives and situations and all that. It's just been a really cool experience, and one that I think myself and the rest of us that are part of PAD and GMA in general are just super blessed to be a part of, because we get to have all those different experiences and inputs from people from all sorts of different backgrounds and walks of life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Heels, what about you?
So, yeah. All right. So when I came in, first thing, when we chatted, we had everything going. Then, like our first episode, I remember us someone asking the question, "Tell us a little bit about yourself," yada yada, and I understood very quickly I was the only person who did not go to seminary. I would have thought I was going to school for IT, and God called me to ministry in the middle of that. So I didn't have. So immediately I came in self-conscious, but now I've realized it's a little more of a blessing. I feel like I got like $1 million degree from like Pastors After Dark University, just listening to you guys every week.
That'll be a tier 3 sub. Thank you very much.
yeah. But it's yeah, I've learned so much. I mean, hanging out and I'm like Ironheart. I realize I know just about nothing, but I'm learning more every week, and I love it. Just also, I mean, because I didn't go to seminary. I haven't, talked a lot with other pastors. Most of my relationships are in my own church, so it's just been awesome to learn from the different backgrounds, the different denominations, and all just the wealth of knowledge that's on the show, and then just even what's being talked about in chat, and to hear all that, like, it's been incredible. I think I've grown a ton just from being on the show, and it's also awesome that I get to throw in some input here and there too.
Absolutely. Ferris, let's go to you.
For me, it's been really interesting. Like streaming over this entire year, and then particularly with Pastors After Dark, and then how it's helped shape like what I do on stream has changed my viewpoint of, like, for a long time I thought that my calling to preach and teach the gospel was, to do it vocationally, to be in a church behind the pulpit, to do it with the official title of like, this is what I'm doing, everyone listen to me for 45 minutes. But it's changed dramatically because of this community and because of this opportunity with Pastors After Dark. Like, I can do it here. I can build a community and invite them in and have tough conversations that you really probably wouldn't hear in a large scale format within many churches. But like, it's really awesome to sit amongst other people who are saying that, hey, here's what we believe. We're still figuring out a whole lot. We have a lot of questions. We're going to speak with confidence, but we're also going to be like, hey, you know what? I don't really know that somebody else have a good answer to this question that chat proposed or that, we're talking about today. Like, those are the type of things that have been really humbling and really exciting for me, and like has taught me that I can continue to fill the calling on my life with this webcam and these lights and the community that's here right now, the community that I can build. And those people need the gospel as much as the people who are entering into church doors. So it's awesome.
100%. Shadow.
Yeah, the biggest thing, and I think the biggest blessing that this has honestly been is just like this realization of, like, again, like I was saying, this show started as I was transitioning out of a church that I'd worked at for 7 years, you know, and I'd never moved churches ever before, you know, like unless my parents just did randomly, or I like ended just a season of life in school. So I'd been at church for 7 years. All of my friends, all of the other pastors that I knew, all of the leaders that I knew, all like gone, you know, literally in the span of like the conception of the show. I finished my last 2 weeks and like episode 1 came and I was like packing up to move. I had never moved out of Illinois before. I'd never lived in another state for longer than a few weeks. And, you know, and as we all know what happened in 2020, like COVID hit and it was even harder to, you know, not just show up in a new place. Like I'm pretty good at making new friends. And obviously I was going to be in a new church, but like, I didn't have those deep connections and relationships anymore that I had back in my old church. So one of the biggest blessings that I've had and realized that I think has kept me grounded throughout this move and throughout the year that has been 2020 is literally having this show and these guys here to be able to like come back to and talk with. And even if it is just like focusing on, guys, what do we need next week? What are we doing on the show? It's like these relationships have helped me stay stable and sane in like a crazy time. So it's a huge blessing to like get to know these guys on a deeper level than just like, oh, you're someone that watches me on, you know, Monday mornings or Tuesday mornings or whatever. To have like real relationships that I can rely on these guys for is super cool. So that's what I'd say for me.
Awesome.
Biggest thing I learned.
Yeah. Okay. So we've been doing Pastors After Dark for a year now. So I want us to picture us doing this exact same episode in a year from now for our 2-year anniversary. What would you guys like to see Pastors After Dark be doing by next year's time, or how would you like to see it grow? No, I threw that question at you.
I like Dewson's idea. The ordained episode needs to happen sooner than later. Ordained for subs.
Yeah, there you go.
I would love to see okay, so here's what's interesting, right? So like there's levels of validity that people come and watch us for, right? So if we would have started this and said 4 dudes who are Christians talk about deep Christian things, right? You might have had some people come up, but then there's some validity to the conversation when you say, you know, 4 pastors. So Pastors After Dark. So these are people who are in the ministry, who have been given that position of authority by other believers to help lead, teach, preach, and shepherd. And I've loved it. I would love to be able to see, like, if we could get, like, you know, I'm a big dreamer. Like, it would be awesome if we could get a relatively big name pastor to come and join us on an evening stream to go, hey, you have no idea who we are. You have never heard of us. Do you know what Twitch is? We have a community of people. Would you want to come on and have a conversation about, you know, this subject or this subject or this subject, or even maybe a subject that you're like super like well versed on, but none of us are. Would you help lead and teach our community, right? You know, my only hesitation with that is, you know, doing ministry for 10 years and in big churches. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but big pastors that travel around the country also sometimes ask for a lot of money because...
Wait, do we not pay you guys? Am I the only one getting paid here? Just kidding.
Wait. And that's a whole other. So somebody should go into command pad and ask that question: should pastors be paid lots of money?
Yeah, we've yet to touch mega churches. Nobody has asked that yet.
Yeah, that's
right, for itinerant preaching, right? Yeah, should pastors be paid a lot of money for itinerant preaching? Because on one side of that, I'm like 100% yes. Like, you know, if that's what their full-time gig is. But also, I'm like, wait, you're asking me to pay you 10 grand to come tell a room full of high school students that they need Jesus? If I pay your ticket, will you just do it for free? Like, cause like for me, that's the way I've always been. If somebody just pay for my room board, and like, hey, here's $100 because we love you, a love offering. That's always been my like the greatest blessing in the world.
Mhm.
When I found out how much some of these like student ministry like conference speakers make, I was like, oh my Lord, I'm in the wrong business.
Yep.
But you know, it's not like, I understand like a bigger name might be hard to get, but I don't think it's totally out of the realm of possibility. Because again, we're not asking them
No,
to travel
no.
somewhere. You know, it's literally like we will mail you a Logitech C920, you know, and a mic so that you sound okay.
Mhm.
Come and be a part of this conversation. I think it could happen.
Oh, I think it.
so.
I think it could too, and I think there's different level. I think there are different people that would be amazing. Like, in all honesty, I live in Houston. This is no joke, no joke. I would love to get Joel Osteen on an episode with us.
Yeah.
To just go, like, hey,
Be fun.
I'm probably not going to agree with a bunch of your theology, but can you tell me what is it like being the focus of millions of people in this country, many who love you, many who hate you? How do you walk through this life,
Yeah.
like still saying that you love Jesus and proclaiming? Like
Man,
that's a question. That's a question I can
I
never
would feel
answer.
bad though.
I mean,
Like,
we
if
have
you
to
could see the
make sure
chat, I would
nobody
feel
who
bad.
subbed to Tanner post that email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just be like, no, there's no live chat, dude. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're good. It would be interesting. You know what I found
Mhm.
out this week, not to derail this because I think this is a really good conversation. But Torrin Wells, who's like a really popular for Hills
Yeah.
and Valley, he's
Yeah.
his worship pastor.
Yeah, I know.
I had no
I didn't know
idea. And I don't know how to feel about like I'm processing. I'm ready to ask that in pads. How should I feel about Torrin Wells being Joel Osteen's worship pastor? Like,
Right.
What?
And then
I really like Torrin Wells though.
me too. That's why I'm like,
Like he's a really good
processing, what does
speaker
that
too.
mean?
Not just
I
not just a singer.
know.
He's such a good speaker.
And then like you could go crazy things. Gosh, what's his name?
Can we resurrect some old theologian, Oswald Chambers and
Oswald Chamberlain. No, the okay, so there's this African American, there's this black man. What's his name? Hold on, Kat, help me out here. There's a girl in who is part of the Cheetah Girls, who married. What's his name? Israel Houghton. Hey, right? Okay, hold on. Okay, do y'all know who I'm talking about?
I know who Israel Houghton
I,
is.
Okay. Here's the
I only
interesting
remember
thing.
the two girls. Yeah, Adrian Bylon.
Adrian. So he's
Okay.
married to Adrian Bylon. Here's a crazy thing, right? Like, it would be awesome to go, can we get some, this would never ever happen, but this is where my crazy brain works. Like, right? Israel Houghton, like super famous worship leader, right? Was married, got divorced, then got remarried to a cheetah girl, Adrian Bylon, right? Like, it would be crazy. Like, these are the things where my brain works to go, I would love to be able to go, hey, can we get Israel Houghton on here to come talk to us about, like, what's that like going through to, like, lose a position?
yeah,
To go, hey, I still love Jesus and I want to proclaim his name, so I still make music and I produce, like, records. Those are the things that, like, the messiness of faith and
Yeah.
church and ministry is where I would love to be able to get this into with other people who have experience in it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
You know,
Yeah, I think that's an
just-
awesome
That
dream.
would be awesome. Yeah, I agree.
I think for me, one of the big dreams, and I don't think one that's out of the realm of possibility, but I would love a couple different things. I think one would be to continue, like, again, we stumbled into the idea of having other pastors on when I was traveling and we needed Ferris to step up. And then that just kind of opened the doors to, like, okay, well, let's get Tanner and let's get, you know, like, people that we need based on the subject sometimes. But I think that as GMA has continued to grow and as the Christian community as a whole continues to grow online, that there are more and more solid Christians, you know, like Deadly Dill, who we had on this past season, you know, and others that are kind of popping up and rising up. And I'm like, man, we got to get this guy on pads. You know, we have to get
Right.
this person or this
Yeah,
person.
heck yeah.
That I'm just so looking forward to, and to see even what that would look like, to where, you know, like, I don't know, I just think that there's so much potential there, and to see other shows even sprout out of that. You know, we've talked about, like, what does theology after dark look like, or you know, exegesis after dark, or whatever, you know, or like even like an after show of pastors, the after pastors after dark or whatever, you know, and have like a whole nother show, or maybe there's a whole nother side of pastors that totally disagree with everything we said, but they're going to break down and go through what we did say. or whatever. But that's like one goal, because I just think there's so many people that could do and answer this, and even just bringing back topics like the pornography one, but we have different people on, so it's like a different set of eyes and maybe different tips or different verses that we never even got to, because we're limited to a 1 to 2 hour show, and we're trying to keep it entertaining and keep it moving a bit. That's one. The other one for me that'd be really, really cool is to have all of us in a room together and actually do a Pastors After Dark, like live in the studio, and if we did it around like TwitchCon, not that I think Twitch would put it on, but if we did it in a church in San Diego close enough to TwitchCon, that we could then invite everybody and invite people to, and make it like a worship night or a GMA night, where we are able to have worship, hear a message, and then do like a live recording or live stream of Pastors After Dark with a live audience and people that want to be there, and literally have a mic around that we could have be our gatekeeper somehow. I think there's a lot of cool things we could do with it, and I think in a post-COVID world, these things could really happen. Yeah. So.
Ken coming in with a TwitchCon service. Amen. That would be amazing.
There you go.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah. How cool would it be? And we talked about it from the last TwitchCon that me and Ken and Till Truth and Ollie all went to. So I'm like, man, it would be amazing because there's so many. Trust me, guys. For as outgoing as a lot of these streamers and viewers are, there are so many people that are just sitting by themselves. Nobody's talking to them. Nobody's giving them 2 seconds of their time, unless they're the biggest name, the top 2% of streamers. To be able to invite those people and go, hey, you're not going to the Twitch after party? Dude, I got this other after party we're going to. There's going to be food. There's going to be music. There's going to be a live stream recording there. And just to have something to invite people to, I think could be really, really cool and could reach so many people at a convention like that. Yeah, pray for it. Let's pray into it.
Yeah.
I think it could be amazing.
Absolutely. Ironheart or Deuce, either of you have anything you'd like to see?
I mean, I was just thinking if we could get us all to meet up somewhere, just even if it's not wherever. That was like the big thing to me. Like, even I was trying to think of like, okay, where's there like a central location between all of us? And because we've got Texas, Tennessee, Iowa, and California.
Have to be like Colorado or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Or we just get rid of the outlier and just meet somewhere in the middle and make Jay figure it out.
There you go.
I don't know. I don't care. I just like wherever, like, Jay's like vision for that is something so much bigger than my brain, because my brain was like, could meet in St. Louis at my parents' house and sit around my kitchen counter and just like put a few mics in there, and it's like, oh, it'd be perfect, whatever. And I don't know, just getting everyone together in one room.
That would be awesome.
Like, doesn't matter where, but just getting us in one room together would be awesome. And if as many of us that have been on the show as possible.
Get everybody.
Get everybody.
Like, even awesome. If it means that we only say like half a minute of things or whatever, I don't know. It would be super cool to have all of us in a room having just a conversation about whatever. It could be literally anything. But because we do these shows where we're online, and I consider all of you my friends, but it's like I've never been in the same room as you, and some of you have been able to do meetups and stuff like that before the Rona and all that kind of stuff. And we were gonna do a Chicago meetup, and then there was the Rona, and it's like, man, I would love to just be in the same room as you, like talk about, as Regen said, what if we talked about Jesus? I know, like, wild, right? Just, I don't know. I think that would be the coolest thing.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'll be in Chicago on Thanksgiving because my parents moved there. So.
Oh my gosh, I have to go to Chicago for Thanksgiving this year then.
Shadow, if you're there for Thanksgiving.
My family is in Chicago, and I could potentially go out there for that.
Friends.
I might get to see Ferris on Thanksgiving. I'm so excited.
Yeah, they moved to Wheaton. So.
Oh, okay, they're in Wheaton. Nice. I know exactly where that is.
I don't have a clue, but
Yoshi invited himself to Thanksgiving.
Come on, Yoshi.
Invited.
Let's
Everyone's
go.
invited.
Yeah.
Y'all
Whoever's in
invited.
Chicago, we
Oh,
will
Ken
find a
too.
spot for
Okay.
everybody.
Oh, Ken. Yeah, road trip. There you go, Ken.
I also had a dream of like us getting some type of school bus, gutting it out, putting cameras in there, and then just
Oh my
driving
gosh.
around and picking everybody up.
Oh
To go
my
to
That'd be
gosh.
gosh.
incredible. Just do that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be something.
And
That
then
would be
just
awesome.
like it would be like a road trip live stream nonstop
That would be a great YouTube series.
Mhm.
to
That
pick
would be
everybody
awesome.
up and yeah.
Yes.
And we're just going somewhere. I don't know where, but we'll go somewhere.
Anywhere.
I like it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Anywhere.
for some reason, I just picture like a bed in the back of the bus and Ferris is just jumping on it. That's just all
There
I
you
picture
go.
with that.
Here you go.
Bus added to
Visit
budget.
as
Pastors
many
on the
GMA
road.
Yes,
community
pastors
people
on the
and
road.
just Christians.
Yes.
Yes.
Pastors on
I
the
love
road.
it.
Let's make it happen.
Do pastors after dark in every
Oh,
state
gosh.
possible.
Yes.
Oh my
Oh, that'd
God.
be incredible.
There
That'd be
you go.
amazing.
There you go.
All right.
How much
lofty
PTO
goals.
do you all have?
That's
My
our
pastor
BHAG.
just said I can't miss 2 Sundays in a row.
Well. Oh,
I'll
man.
talk to mine.
Maybe I'll just resign. Whatever.
Worth
Worth
it.
it.
Old move.
Worth it.
Houston Heal, do you guys have any other thoughts or like ideas or dreams that you would love to see?
I mean, I'll go with mine. I'm a top 7, just for the record. So Enneagram, I'm a dreamer. So like
There you go.
what I would like to happen is exactly what you guys said. An IRL meetup. I would love for us to do an IRL meetup. Have Deuce and Shadow lead a worship set. I think that would be incredible. And I would like for by this time next year that we've had so many new people and so many lives changed that we have to host live baptisms. Like that's just like that's more my dream. That's where my head's at. Like I'd like to be partnered by next year. Like the GMA channel be partnered because we've reached so
Yeah.
many people.
Yeah.
So many lives have been changed that when we host this, there's a crowd there. We have worship, a message. We have baptisms. We ordain Yoshi. I love it. I
You're
just,
Dane Yoshi.
yeah. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I want to see it grow. I want to see lives changed.
Wait, hold on. Isn't Yoshi in Canada?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so how
Yes,
many
we're making this an
if-
international trip.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. What if we
International.
couldn't cross the boundaries, but we had water balloons and we prayed over the water and we just threw it at them?
Oh.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Those big slingshots, you pull them way back.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just
Oh my gosh.
international baptism
Yeah.
by
There you
delivery.
Go.
I like it.
Baptism
I
by
like it.
delivery.
Ken
Ken
found
found
the
the
bus,
bus.
guys.
Yeah, and I think since
Only
he found it,
$20,000.
finders keepers. That means Ken gets to pay for it and then bless the ministry with it.
There we go.
He still owes us a ton of PCs.
And I could
Ministry PCs.
realistically drive up within a day to Ken to go get it. And then we just start on the West Coast and work
There
our
you go.
way up and down US.
If you wait too long,
Y'all
if
do
you wait
that.
too long, you're gonna have to drive through snow to get to me. So,
What's snow?
come
Oh,
visit. I'll let
gosh.
you know.
It just depends on the day in
Awesome.
Tennessee. You go to the
True.
beach one
Yeah.
day and then snowboarding the next. It's weird.
You go to the beach
I
in
know,
Tennessee.
guys.
Okay, the lake. You can go to the lake. I'm
There
sorry.
you go.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to pray for us here in Texas. We're hitting a cold front tomorrow. It's gonna be a low of 57.
Oh
Poor
no.
thing.
How will you manage?
Yikes!
But don't worry.
I wasn't prepared.
It'll get to mid 80s. It'll get to mid 80s by the mid of the day.
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that was the high today. Was like 53.
Oh,
So
it's gotten cold here. I don't know what it was, but it's gotten chilly.
All right. Do we have anything from chat we need to catch up on?
Well, and Dustin didn't say what his
I
dream
don't
would be.
Oh,
I'm not as creative as all of y'all. Y'all said mine. Mine was just meeting you guys in person, doing something together. Then y'all made it all amazing. So I'm just gonna say, yeah, everything y'all said. Yep. I'm in.
like
Just
it.
pick me up on the bus. Let's go. Let's do
pick
it.
me up on the
pick me up.
bus.
Figure out those. I'm realizing from Ken, buses are more expensive than I thought they were. Like people were using this as a suitable replacement for a house. I mean, that's close to the price of a house around here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why, because people gut them and then they they travel with them instead of like buying an RV or whatever. Maybe an RV will be cheaper.
Yeah, why don't we just rent an RV instead of buying a bus and doing all that?
See, this is why we have you around, Dr. Heels.
True. You know. Come with a good
All
answer
right.
once in a while.
Awesome. Well, with that, I'll give this to Shadow. What do the people have to look forward to for this season of Pastors After Dark?
Yeah, there's a lot. I say this every season, but and you would think I don't mean it. I'm just saying it, but I really do. It's like every time I go to make the schedule for like topics and what we're doing and look at the survey, I'm like, what could we possibly talk about that we haven't covered? Even though we've only been doing it a year, but it's been a year. Most Sundays, we only take like a 2-week break between seasons. 3 seasons in, going into season 4. I'm like, what are we going to cover that we haven't covered before? And these are all new topics. I don't think there's one that is like a do-over or like I don't know what we call it, a remix, a reimagine, or whatever.
A rerun.
A rerun or anything like that with different people. These are all brand new topics. Next week, we're going to talk about Christian swearing. And there are pastors and elders and other people that I'm super excited that will come on to Pads. Hopefully this season. We're still kind of working out a few schedule things, but that you'll get to see. You guys will get to hear from different viewpoints on things. Like Ferris said, I think Ferris was the missing piece. Like I said, everyone's been a missing piece so far. That's just added and made Pads better. But his of like, I love to argue, I love to press in more. And then with a few of these other people, I'm excited to see, not that Pads is going to become Jerry Springer by any means, but to continue to just see these different aspects. And I think it helps us to be able to see just different perspectives on things, or even just different thoughts from different people in different states and different parts of the world. So yeah, a lot of cool new people that are gonna be coming on. So I'm super excited for all those things in the future, Pads.
It'd be great.
Yes, it's gonna be another great season. Make sure y'all plan every Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. These guys will be here chatting about these different topics. So like Shadow said, next week they're talking Christian swearing. Do you want to clarify what that means for anybody who doesn't know?
No.
Okay, they'll have to come,
Just kidding.
have to come find out next
Gotta
week.
come
here.
No, I mean Greg's got it in
Yep.
the chat. Darn. Look at that big darn.
Darn it. Yeah.
Oh hecky darn.
Crap it? I have never heard that in my life.
I haven't heard crap
neither.
either.
Crap it?
Wait, what have you never heard?
It.
Crap
Oh
it?
my word. Oh my God. Darn
Oh
it.
my Lanta.
Oh, my Lanta, that's what.
Holy
that was
Hannah.
good.
Awesome.
I don't even understand this whole Christian curse word. If I'm gonna ask forgiveness for it, we're gonna go all the way.
Just full send, right?
Might as well. Why not?
Awesome.
That's another one, yeah.
Awesome. Well, that'll be a great episode next week. With that, is there any final thoughts that any of you have?
No, just excited for what season 4 has for us.
We'll get it.
Same. It's gonna be
I
awesome.
have to
There's a
go
lot
look
of
through
really
that
cool.
schedule.
Yeah, a lot of really cool questions coming up.
Well, we're excited.
Yeah.
I only have one thing. If you're in chat still, this is my only time I'm gonna say it. Kat said it earlier, but we have a blessing bank opportunity. That's what I want to bring up.
Yeah.
In that bottom left-hand corner, it says
Yes.
$161. We want to do something special for Pastors After Dark for Agree to Disagree, which returns very soon. I know Kennethan's excited about that. But anytime where anybody's streaming on the GMA page, for the next few weeks, we're going to be taking all donations, anything anybody gives from $1 to $100. And I think at not next weekend, but the weekend after, right, Shadow?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not next episode, but the episode
Following.
after, the
Yep.
following episode. So 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to be taking everything in Blessing Bank and giving it to somebody else on Twitch. And they're probably not going to be a GMA affiliated at all. They may not even love Jesus, but we're going to have an opportunity to go and love somebody and then go be a part of their stream and their community and introduce them to us as GMA, as believers, as Christians. Because, hey, it's 2020 and everyone needs a little bit of love. So if we can share the love of Christ and be able to participate in blessing somebody else with maybe a little bit of money that may help pay a bill, or even just let them go buy groceries or food, or just hang out with friends, and or just
Right.
be the little more relieved for that next week, then we've done a good introduction of saying, hey, we're GMA, we love Jesus and we love you. Come hang out with us. So be a part of that. Any part of your donation, please give. I know I'm pitching really, really hard,
Really.
but
It's worth it.
I would love for you all to be part of that, because here's the cool thing: in 2 weeks, you'll get to come with us at the end of the stream and go love on this person,
Mhm.
and be a part of it, and you'll have an opportunity to participate in blessing somebody. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah.
Do we have to donate with PayPal? Sean the Gamer says no. You can use a credit card as well,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
but
Yes.
you'll click that Stream Elements link, and then you
Mhm.
can dictate how you want to
Right.
Right.
donate. Somebody can even, I mean, you can even donate in rubles, okay, or Japanese yen, or Canadian dollars. Okay?
Yoshi,
It's up to you.
our Canadian viewer. No. And I think Deucin would still honor our agreed upon goal here, that if we hit $200 before this is done, we'll do a Pokemon Nuzlocke race side by side. We'll stream at the same time
Mhm.
with other goals and other incentives for the following blessing bank
Right.
that we could set up. But to dispute once and for all who is the Pokemon master,
Who is the very best?
very
like no one ever
best.
was.
to catch them all is
Right.
their real test.
Yeah. You know what I was saying we should do on that, if that happens, Shadow, is we should have like 3 categories. We should have like the race is like one part of it. Like actually completing it as a Nuzlocke is another. If you fail the Nuzlocke, you got to keep going though. That's another part. And then battle at the end if we're able to do that.
Oh,
It's like we might have to do it through
Let's
Showdown,
go.
but that'd be so
Yeah.
fun. Have like 3 different
Yeah.
categories. It'd be awesome.
That would
Can we
be
get some
super
pogs
fun.
in chat real quick for generated,
No
bringing
idea
us
what
up
most
to
of
an
this
even
means.
170?
170.
Let's go.
Let's
We're
go.
only at
Let's
roll.
go.
Yay.
There we
Awesome.
go.
Awesome. Awesome.
$30 more, and then you get to see that
Deucin's
Pokemon stream, guys.
sweating in his pants right now. No,
Dude,
in
nice.
reality, Deucin's a way more competitive player. I've just like played competitively with my friends. He's actually he's played real Pokemon YouTubers,
Dude,
PokeTubers. I think
yeah,
they're
I
called,
played
right?
the world
PokeTubers.
champion a few months ago. He destroyed
did you win?
me. No, but I
did you-
didn't.
exactly.
But I didn't
I'm
get
not worried.
swept. He beat me 4-2, so I was very happy about that.
Nice.
But yeah, he killed me. And I went back and watched it because he was streaming it, and he called every move that I was gonna make, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think my saving grace, honestly, is the Nuzlocke, is my unwavering pride, arrogance, and confidence, but also the fact that it's a Nuzlocke, and
Yeah.
so you can't willingly find like what your team wants.
Yep.
Those are the 2 things that will help me in that battle if it actually happens.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh, we hit it! I think we hit it right here, Deuce.
Yes, there it
Yo,
is. There's the
there
200.
Yo,
Let's
Nice.
we did it.
Easy clap. Let's go.
Dude.
There we go.
Let's go.
All right, it's
That's
coming.
great. 'Cause I really wanted to
All
see
right.
what this happening.
Oh,
Yeah, we gotta figure out a time that works. but-
yes.
What? Maybe if we hit $300, maybe Ironheart and I will actually stream multiple days in a row. That could be it.
Whoa.
No, I don't know.
$300 Ironheart wears a real shirt. Wears a dress shirt.
Here's the deal. $300. I'll stream 2 days. I'll stream 3 days in a row in an actual shirt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Without a hat
Ferris.
on. Without
Without
a hat on.
Without a
Without a hat on.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. But can you do your hair like in the picture in the GMA Twitter?
Yes.
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 Yes. I love it.
I'll go get the cement hair gel that I used to get.
At
Oh my
500,
God.
Dr. Heels has to prove that his coffee maker takes 2 minutes and that he would have really won.
Yeah.
So give or take a little.
I mean, listen,
Well, unplug it. Bring it to the stream room. Stream
I'm-
garage.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Okay,
willing to
probably
go
just
even
show
further.
everybody.
If we get to like, I don't know what number we
Coffee
want to
maker
do,
right
but
here.
I'm willing to shave beard and head if we get to I don't know.
201.
1 million.
Nope.
Am I being brought in on this? Because 1 million is my price.
Can you imagine if the blessing bank got to a certain, like, we should just make it outrageous, say something like $1,000, all 4 or 5 of us would shave and do a whole episode, we'd scare
Oh
so
my
many people
goodness.
away.
Oh my gosh.
People would think we were a cult. All these guys are pastors, clean shaven and no hair.
This
What if-
beard
Oh my
costs way
gosh.
more than $1,000.
Yeah.
Just chucking that out there.
What if, I mean, but what if we get not maybe, I don't know what number it would be, but what would it take for all of us to do a Pat episode and then shave everything off during the episode?
Oh wow.
Like at the end, like at the beginning or at the end. Like I'm in for that. I don't know if you guys are in for that.
Are we talking all hair on our heads?
I'm talking like face and head, not
Not
eyebrows.
eyebrows.
You
Oh
can
my
keep your
gosh.
eyebrows.
Yeah.
Keep your eyebrows.
Yoshi, absolutely not. My wife and Reborn were already talking about this at youth group, how much it would take, and they're at like 10K, and I'm like, I really don't think I would do that. Like, I don't know, but
Oh man.
could
you-
That's
hon.
hard. Like, I have not had a beard since 8th grade.
I haven't been clean shaven in a long time. And
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's been like since I was 6 that I've really been
Yeah,
trying hard here.
Oh
Man.
my gosh.
If we hit 10K, I would do it.
10K? Wow.
Because because
Wow.
you have to understand, guys. Look, I'm mid 30s and I still have beautiful hair. Okay, no receded hairline. I've got on this side, I have 2 gray hairs, just 2. Okay,
I
so for me to get rid of this beauty, like this thing that God created, that's what it would have to be.
Oh
Wow.
gosh.
I mean, honestly, if we get to some crazy astronomical number by the time that we do this donation, then I'm
It's
willing
2
to
weeks.
do 2 weeks. If
Weeks.
we get to, I don't know what number it would be, but if we get to a crazy high number in 2 weeks, I'm not going to be able to be here and we give it away. But as soon as I get back, I'm willing to cut my hair or whatever, just to like say or eat spicy food. I don't know.
Yeah, we wouldn't
Hey, I'll
do
do
it
the
on
spicy
the
food
episode
thing.
that we give it away. It would probably have to be like the following
Yeah.
episode or whenever we decide. Why don't we do
Yeah,
this?
Eric,
Let's
so-
talk
the
about it.
hockey one chip
Yeah.
challenge things. Those are in like every pilot and stuff right now. Like,
So
we gotta
Ironheart, what I'm
do
hearing
this.
is $1,000 shave your beard and your head. That's what I heard.
Deal.
but not
Done.
Dr. Heels. Dr. Heels.
No.
is-
Yeah, no,
I mean, we can each do something if we get to $500. I think $500 is attainable, but also like far off. And if we each have our own thing to do at $500,
Well, I was
Ooh, they
thinking-
hit-
This is brainstorming too,
This
but I
is-
was
this
thinking
is-
if me and
Mhm.
Dustin, now that we hit the 200, if we do something in our Nuzlocke where like every time someone donates to the blessing bank, if we keep it to this or whatever,
Yeah.
then every like $20 we could drop a Pokemon, or something, or drop an item, or
Ooh.
Yeah.
like
Ooh,
make
okay.
there be punishments involved so we could keep it going.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
To just screw with each other even more.
Yeah.
So that could help if we do it within the 2 weeks before we give this away.
So like I could
Hold
pay
on, Heels,
$20 and pick a Pokemon for you to have to drop.
that sounds like that sounds beneficial.
Heels, $1,000. Can we get rid of your mustache? Not the little connectors to your beard, just the
Just
mustache.
the mustache. Oh gosh. I
Pray
don't- I
about
don't wanna
it.
answer
Pray
that.
about it. Pray about it.
I'll pray about it.
$200 to get together and do a real life
Real
Fall
life.
Guys
oh
competition.
my gosh. My daughter's
Imagine
going to
us
do that in my
getting
family
together to do
room.
That'd
Let's
be
get it.
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I'll do,
This
I'll
was
do
a
that
fun
one for free.
episode.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, like we said, we got that to look forward to. We're giving that away in 2 weeks. With that, let's wrap up the show here. Y'all stick around and chat. I believe the plan is we're going to be playing some Among Us once we wrap up here, so stick around. But before then, y'all, where can the good people find y'all? Let's start with Dustin.
Yep. You can find me anywhere on the internet at Pastor Dustin, but I stream here on Twitch Thursday through Monday. So every day except Tuesday and Wednesday now. Although this week, I have no idea. I may be streaming constantly since I have to be quarantined for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, you can find me anywhere on the internet at Pastor Dustin, spelled the same way. Wherever you're active, I'm probably active, but love to see you in chat if you drop me a follow here on Twitch.
Awesome. Ferris.
You can find me here at twitch.tv/Fairstorm. And guys, you will see me back streaming very soon. I've been home for a couple weeks and getting my house and home and everything back caught up. I have now gig internet and amazing upload speed, so I will be streaming this week. Hopefully Wednesday night is my goal. Wednesday night is my goal. So you can catch me twitch.tv/Fairstorm Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central.
Awesome. Shadow.
Yeah, we just took a whole week off. I had my in-laws in, and so we were sleeping literally right here on an air mattress we gave in our bedroom. So I took the entire week off. This has kind of been my first stream anything all week. So we'll be back tomorrow morning with our normal schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll be hanging out, talking with you guys, reading through God's word. And then, so you guys can find me twitch.tv/Super Shadow. And then also on YouTube, if you guys want to see these episodes and kind of abridged versions of it, like quick 15-minute versions, the full 2-hour episodes on there as well. And then we have a bunch of other videos that come out daily as well there. So
Awesome. Dr. Heels.
Yes, you can find me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dr. Heels. I'm also on YouTube. I have 2 channels now that I'm really putting a lot of time in. YouTube.com/ThatBoldLife for Christian teaching devos and stuff like that. And then YouTube.com/Dr. Heels, where I'm doing like mainly design videos and stream branding stuff. We're still developing that channel out. But yeah, you can find me there. Also stream Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. We changed my time on Thursday, but not the day, but it's messed with me. I stream during the day on Thursdays now doing video editing and design and such. Anyway, I felt like I said a lot, but y'all come hang out with me sometime.
Come hang out with me. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Side note, really been enjoying your videos on there, Dr. Heels. I used one of the ones that you were using, like in Canva, doing the green screen tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
I used that while I was redesigning some stuff on my Just Chatting scene earlier, and I was pulling it up, and I was like, okay, this is how we did that. Yeah, it's been very helpful. So y'all go check them out.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to know.
nice.
Awesome.
I have like a whole list of videos I'm going to try to make very soon.
Awesome. All right, Ironheart, where can the good people find you?
If I stream, LOL, I'm on Twitch at Father Ironheart, and I'm on Twitter at Father Ironheart, and I'm in the GMA Discord at Father Ironheart. And the best place to get a hold of me between now and like October 18th will be on Twitter, and then after that, Discord will be a good place to get a hold of me. I don't have Discord on my phone right now because life is crazy, and I just spend too much time on it if it's on my phone. So, but yeah, Twitch, Twitter, and Discord are the 3 places.
Awesome. Well, it has been a great episode. Thanks to y'all for doing this. Thanks for y'all for sticking around and chat and hanging out tonight. Let's have Dr. Heels. Do you want to pray us out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Father, we thank you so much for this day, and we thank you for this year, God, and what you've done here, and all the opportunities you've given us, all the questions that have came in, all the questions that have been answered. God, I thank you for these incredible group of pastors that you've brought together, Lord. I just thank you for the wisdom that I've gleaned from them, Lord, and I just thank you for everything we're doing here. And God, I'm just praying for the next year and the year after that. And God, I'm just praying that that people would come and they would come with their ears and their hearts open, God, and that they would come to know and experience your love and your grace, and that they would that lives would be changed here, God. I'm praying that we get a really cool bus and we get to do some amazing things, and we do everything, God, for your glory. Father, we love you and we trust you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.